Welcome back. So today we're talking about summarizing. When readers summarize complex nonfiction texts, they craft short versions of a text. The summaries tend to include the author's main ideas, how those main ideas relate to each other, and the key supporting details. When we study what makes it more challenging to determine the main ideas of a complex nonfiction text, we notice that text now has more than one main idea. There may be one main idea for one part, then another main idea for another part, or the main ideas might thread across the text. The really important thing is for a reader to be able to think about how those main ideas go together and relate to each other. We're going to try this with a chunk of When Lunch Fights Back. The part about the termites with the toxic bubbles on their back. We're going to see if we can figure out what the main ideas of this text are and how those main ideas relate to each other or go together. Here's the passage. While slogging through a rainforest in French Guiana, scientists Thomas Bourguignon and Jan Subotnik came upon a colony of N. terracua termites. They noticed something odd as they watched the insects go in and out of their nests. Some termite workers had blue spots on their backs. Intrigued, Bourguignon grabbed one with forceps. Then the termite promptly burst. Very carefully, the scientists collected several blue-spotted workers and examined them more closely. The blue spots, they discovered, were tiny pouches filled with blue crystals. We exported some of the termites to our lab in the Czech Republic, where a team of biochemists analyzed them, explained Bourguignon. The crystals turned out to be a copper containing protein. Related proteins are secreted in termite digestive tracts, but no one had ever seen pouches full of this protein on a termite's back. Obviously, the crystal-filled pouches were some sort of defensive weapon, but how did it work? The scientists dissected a blue-spotted worker under a microscope. Beneath her crystal-filled pouches, they discovered a set of salivary glands. Mixing saliva from these glands with some of the blue crystals instantly forms a toxic liquid. The scientists suspect that when blue-spotted workers are attacked, they somehow break open their crystal-filled pouches and the underlying salivary glands. Crystals and saliva combine, forming a drop of toxic liquid that bubbles out of the termite's back. Obviously, N. terracua workers avoid triggering the mixing of blue crystals and saliva, as this causes their death, said Bourguignon. However, when they are bitten by an enemy, then they trigger their weapon. This self-sacrifice is the last chance for N. terracua workers to harm their enemies. It's a very effective sacrifice. Every enemy within range drops dead. So often a main idea is taught in multiple places, and you'll see threads all woven together. So we need to look beyond the obvious. Where does the author give us subtle clues to support the main idea? What main ideas in this text are we seeing, and how do they all go together? Well, I think there might be two main ideas here. One is that termites use defenses on their bodies for protection, and the other one is that scientists ask questions and research to find answers. We've got those two, but now we have to think of how those two main ideas go together. What do you think? Well, I'm thinking that the two ideas are related because the scientists' research is what led to the discovery about how termites fend off their enemies. Now, our summary can't list every supportive detail, so we've got to prioritize which supportive details are the strongest. Supportive details are often threaded throughout a section rather than grouped together. So let's see if we can create our own summary. Take a look at this. In this section, Rebecca Johnson teaches that research led to discovering how termites fight off their enemies. One main idea is that scientists ask questions and research to find answers. These scientists ask what the blue pouches were made of. Another main idea is that termites use their bodies to kill their enemies. They carry packs that burst open when they are attacked. Oh, that's pretty good. But when we summarize a text, it actually helps to keep our author, in this case Rebecca Johnson, in mind. We mention her because she's the one who made all these decisions, and she made them for a reason. So we need to do our summary again, but this time we need to keep our author in mind here. In the passage, The Science Behind the Story, Rebecca Johnson teaches that scientists did research to find out how termites fight off their enemies. Rebecca Johnson teaches that scientists ask questions and research those questions. She gives evidence to support this while she tells us how scientists observed their pouches that the termites carried. Johnson also explains that termites use defenses on their bodies to kill their enemies. She explains that termites carry blue protein packs on their back. Much better. All right, so you're going to be doing some of this work yourself. I want you to summarize your book. If you haven't finished it, that's okay. Just summarize everything so far. I would like 3 solid paragraphs. That's 5 sentences at least per paragraph. Your summary goes on the Google slide in a text box. Good luck.